telling the computer, let's create a variable total and have it be equal to a 0. Okay. What happens on the second line? Bar count is equal to 1.
Count is 1.
Yeah. Make a variable count. Can you all see this? Can you see this? Okay. Make a variable count and set it equal to 1. Okay, now is a while loop. So while count is less than or equal to 10. Before we go anywhere, what is count?
1.
Count is 1. Is 1 less than or equal to 10? True. Yeah, it's less than, so true. Okay, so because it is true, we loop, right? We loop. We keep doing the same thing until this is false, until this expression is false. So let's loop. Count plus, total plus equal count. So what is count?
1.
What is total plus equal count? 1, yeah. So we change total to 1. Now, the second one, count plus equal 1. So what is count? Count is 1. What is count plus equal 1? 2. Because it's a loop, what do? We go back. So we go back up and we ask again, is count less than or equal to 10? What is count?
2.
Is this less than or equal to 10? True. Because it is true, we loop again. So we go in here, total plus equal count. What is total?
1.
What is count?
2.
What is total now? What is new total? 3. And the next line, count plus equal 1. So what is my count now? 3, right? Because it's 2 plus the 1, so now 3. Okay, so I have shown you the beginning. What is total? So talk with your pair, continue on. What is total? So now count, is count less than or equal to 10?
True.
True. So we go again. Total plus equal count. My count is 3, my total is 3. What is my new total now? 6. Okay? Count plus equal 1. What is next? 4. We're at the end, so we need to go back up. Count less than equal to 10. True or false? True, yes, because count is still 4. Total plus equal count. My total is 6, my count is 4. 10. What is count? 5. One more time. Count less than equal to 10? True. Total plus equal count? 15 now. What is my count? 6. Okay, one more time. Moichido. Count less than equal 10? True. What is my new total? 21. Yeah. What is my new count? 7. Moichido. Count. True. What is my new total? 28. What is my new count? 8. Do we loop again? Yes. What is count less than equal to 10? True. What is my new total? 36. We're getting into math that people pause now. What is my new count? 9. Yeah. Do I loop again?
Yes.
Okay. Count less than equal to 10? True. Total plus equal count. Are we sure? 45. Yeah. What about count? 10. Okay, do I loop again? Yes. Count less than equal to 10? True. So what is my new total? Yeah. And then count 11. Do I loop again? Nope. Yeah, because my count is now greater than 10, which means that this is false, which means that we can stop looping. So our count, 55. Yeah. Yeah, so all of this code is doing what we just did there, step by step, because these are instructions for a computer. So I want to congratulate all of you. You just read some code. So we went over a lot of things today. We talked about how you know if your code is correct, and you know it's correct because it works. We talked about how one small little change can break your code. Right? And we talked about low-level, middle-level, and high-level languages. Kind of the difference, at least, between the languages we use now and machine code, right? Zeros and the ones. We talked about Grace Hopper, so you now know a fancy historical person to say in conversations. Grace Hopper revolutionized programming. We have learned about JavaScript, which is used in your browser, so you can talk about anything related to websites or things like that. Throw in JavaScript. We talked about data types, right? Strings, numbers, and booleans are the very basic data types. We talked about variables, which are containers for our data. Operators, which do things. We talked about expressions, which is kind of a combination of these things that give us information. We talked about while loops, and we didn't really touch on printing, but you all saw it down here. Okay. So this is a lot of information. The things that we went over today are not JavaScript specific. These same words are used in Java, Ruby, Python. Every programming language uses these same words. So if you plan on learning how to code in the future, stick with one language and learn it well. Because the things that you use in that language are similar in other languages. This is the same thing as human languages, right? So in English, Japanese, Chinese, Spanish, we all have verbs, nouns, adjectives. These are all the same ideas. That's the same thing in programming as well. So, are there any questions? Any final questions? Yeah.
We learned that JavaScript is used for the web searching and web browsing.
Yeah.
What other languages like Python and Ruby is used for?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and I'll try to explain it in as clear of a way as I can. So, to understand that question, you need to know the difference between a website and a web app. Has anyone heard of the web app, this term, web application? So there's a small difference between website and a web app. You go to a website for information. You go to a website, a web application to interact. I'll give you an example. If I have a restaurant, I go to that restaurant's website for information about the restaurant. What is the menu? How do you get there? Who do I call? When I go to Facebook, facebook.com, it's also a website, but it is a web application. I'm not going there to find out the number for Facebook or information about Facebook. I go there because it has all of my friends and pictures and information about me, and I can interact and use that web application. Does that make sense? Another example is email, right? Gmail.com is a website, but it's also a web application because I go there to get all kinds of information, send information to people, right? So all web applications are websites, but not all websites are web applications. So whenever we're talking about this, there are, of course, with web applications, think about all of the data that Facebook has on you, right? Your name, your email, but then also who you're friends with, your profile photo, all your other photos, the things that you post. There's a lot of information that Facebook has or another web application has. That information needs to be stored in a database. It needs to be stored in a server, and a server is like a big computer that has information in it. That requires a lot of programming as well. And the organization of this data can be done in all kinds of different languages, not just JavaScript. So Python and Ruby are known for helping with organizing this data and providing this data to these web applications. I know that there are probably still many questions, and if you have many questions, that's a good thing. This is a very complex topic, but I hope that you will all explore this in the future because, like I said, it took me less than a year to go from not knowing anything to someone paying me to work on code. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I can give you a little bit more background about JavaScript, Ruby, Python. Python is now mostly used for data science, which is, so I have all of this data, what can I learn from it? So Python is being used to figure out what can you learn from the data. Ruby was very popular for startups because it allowed you to create something really fast. However, Ruby is becoming a little less popular because it is difficult to grow your application in Ruby, typically. So JavaScript has been used a lot more when it comes to web applications. Yeah. Are there any other questions? That was a great question. Any other questions? Yeah.
What would be the benefit for somebody like me who's not engineers or who's not trying to be a software engineers to learn the code?
That's a great question as well. So first of all, I think in our day-to-day lives, knowing a little bit more about the things that we use every day, I think is really, really important. Just a little bit more about how to use it, because the technology that controls our lives right now are mostly made by men. However, the people who use them are such a diverse group of people, right? we want to diversify the people who are part of this creation process. And you don't need to be an engineer to have an impact on the technologies that we use. You can be a customer who says, oh, there's something wrong with this, and let me poke that company so they can do something about it. Feeling empowered, feeling like you know a little bit more, I think will help people not be afraid to voice their opinions more. I think it's also a really good mental exercise, right? This was a great mental exercise just to think through. And I think that that is really valuable. It forces you to think a little bit differently. It forces you to look at things a little bit differently, communicate in a little bit different of a way. And I think that's really, really helpful in day-to-day life.
And that concludes our session, the last session for 2019. Now we'll do the group picture.
Go, go, Shinka!